Welcome to week 4 of Every Bit Counts Challenge. This is Silver and Egg Feathers Homestead. If you enjoy homemade food, country living, and preserving the harvest, I do hope that you will like and subscribe and please share. By doing that, you help not only our channel grow, but you also help grow our community. I was hoping to have Benjamin on with me today, but he said no. So Mama is solo today. I hope you enjoy. Take care. Have a blessed day. Welcome to a new week. I had a little bit of time in the morning between projects, and I had the last of those tomatoes I needed to get processed, so I just got to work peeling them. I like to squeeze out the excess juice because these are not paste tomatoes. Nothing goes to waste. It all goes to the chickens or the pig. I do not choose to save the skins. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I just am a little hesitant because there are a lot of lectins in the skin, and I don't feel comfortable enough using that. As always, to each their own. You do what makes you happy. And now we have Aiden grinding up those tomatoes. I started them cooking. And now he's going to grind them up till we have a nice smooth sauce. And then I'm going to put this on my simmer burner and just let it be low and slow while we have school time. Hey Aiden, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you to do schoolwork today?
Help me.
Okay, back to... All right, we're done with our morning block of school time, and this sauce has just been simmering away. I like my sauce nice and thick, so this is getting ready to go into some pint jars. I'm going to take you over here. I'm actually just going to use one of my big pans, and you can see I have canning rings in the bottom. You can use any pan as a canner, as long as it's deep enough. I know that I have enough room for my, 2 inches of space. And you can see I have a couple weirdly stacked here. That's just in case the jar falls over, then it won't just hit the base. But you do have to keep your jars up off of the bottom of the pan unless you enjoy cracked jars. And believe me, that is a sad day when all your hard work goes bye-bye in the water. So I want to finish filling this up until it just goes over, just a little bit over the rims, because as you fill these jars and put them in, then the water level will naturally offset. And I'm going to just bring these to a low simmer, and then I'll be filling them up. Well, hello everybody. It is Tuesday, and we are finally getting to canning that corn. I've had it up on top, gotta find my finger, on top of the fridge underneath this air conditioner, and it's been chilled and doing really well. So now it's just time to get it all cut up and put in jars. So far we have 3 quarts. Now we're just chopping away, getting all of these ears of corn cut off of the cob. We're not going all the way down to where the germ or the sprouts would be. We're going to leave that on the cob, and these all went into the fridge. We're going to make some corn cob jelly. In fact, I think that might be a project for next week. Just keep cutting them off. Christopher's been a great helper. He's such a good boy. He makes me smile. He's over there picking off the corn silks and just holding up the next one for Mama, getting them all ready. So here we're just packing them in the jar. And I did something I shouldn't. I shook them down, and I realized later you're not supposed to do that. So I had to dump out all those jars and refill them. You want to make sure that you don't pack them. Here's the finished product. 4 quarts and 3 pints of corn for our shelves. This won't last very long in our house, but anything and everything counts. That's it for today. I will see you again tomorrow. I am going to get all this pork fat that we had saved. Okay, well, it's not all of it, but all of it that I thought turned into lard. That's my project for the day. This is how it came. Some lockers, it's one way, some it's another, and Aiden is talking in the background because he didn't realize I was filming. So I'm going to take this apart. I don't think I see any leaf lard here, but I am going to have to do some trimming work. Well, that might be. That might be leaf lard. It's looking a little bit potentially like it could be. It's kind of shaggy. And the rest is smooth, but I'll set that aside for now. Anyway, I'm going to cut this up into very small pieces. I've got a couple more packages. We're going to put it in this big pan on very low heat and just start to render it out. And now I'm just chopping this lard. It was a bit challenging. It got a little bit too thawed. I would typically do it just slightly frozen so that it wasn't so hard to deal with. So lesson learned there. I decided to put the rest of the lard into the freezer, and I'm going to be grinding it instead. But we threw it all in the pan, and then we put it on the stove on very low heat. All right, we're back. I have this lard as rendered down as I care to get it. I am erring on the side of caution and not cooking it until the pork is completely crisp, because I want a nice light colored lard. I'll feed all these chunks of fat to the chickens. I was going to do a lot more, but I really discovered that it was tough to chop this by hand, and I'm going to save the rest until I have a simple meat grinder, and I will definitely grind it frozen. So that was pretty convincing. I was really disappointed as I was going along. My friends Katie and Sean gifted us a pig last year. It was a very kind gesture. We were going through a lot. Michael had had his strokes, and they had it processed at a locker that they had never gone to before. And I asked for the lard, and they seemed kind of annoyed, they being the locker, that I asked for lard. They went ahead and did it though. But what shocked me is when I was cutting this up, the waste was incredible. Like, there was a good solid couple pounds worth of sausage meat in with the lard. It's like they threw pork belly in there. I was just like appalled. So Katie and Sean, if you're watching this, I would not go with that same locker. But I did end up saving those meat scraps, and what I'll do is when I'm all done rendering lard from that locker, I'll just put all the meat scraps together and make some sausage. But still, that was really surprising. That's pretty wasteful. You know, you get a pig processed at the locker, and you expect them to do a bit better job, especially for, I don't think I was supposed to see how much that cost, but that was not a cheap processing. So definitely for that kind of money, it should have been really good. Anyway, just kind of my little pet peeve there. What a waste of meat. And right now, this is like super hot, so I'm just squeezing out every bit of fat from this pork that I can. And oh shoot, what is it called? I can't think of the word, but you know, what's left over here is gonna go to the chickens. What's that word? Doggone it. I don't know why it eludes me right now. I could have told you a minute ago what that word is for those crispy little bits when you make lard. Please tell me what it is in the comments, because it's bugging me now. I can't remember what the word is. Anyway, I'm getting all this out, and like I said, I erred on the side of not cooking it until it was completely crisp, because I really see how clear the lard is. That's what I want. I don't want a brown, super strong tasting lard. So I'm pretty happy with this. Put that back in my pan. And then, oh yeah, we got a nice bit here. I don't know if you can see, but even that's a little bit more brown than I would like, but I think as it cools down, it'll be fine. I've had my jars in the oven at 200 degrees. You don't want to put hot lard in a cold jar any more than you want to put any other hot thing in a cold jar. I have this heat mat, the Silpat. Well, it's not a Silpat, but it's that kind of mat. Ooh, those are hot. And I'm going to fill these up to about 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch of headspace. Put bands and lids on, and then I'm going to flip them upside down and let the heat of this seal the jar shut. I want them nice and full so there's not much headspace. And I'm making a mess. I'm making a terrible mess, but that's okay. That's why we wipe it all down with vinegar, right? So I'm going to set those aside. Yeah, I've got a tremendous amount of pork fat left in the freezer, so this is just the beginning. Looks like we're going to get another pint. Ooh, that's hot. And this will be great for baking, cooking. There's a lot of really good vitamins in lard. So this is wonderful. Our pigs were Raised outside in the sunshine, lots of good things to eat. You know, I'm actually going to take a little bit that's left here and I'm going to pour it in my cast iron. And that will be for eggs. It'll be for eggs tomorrow. So that's what we got. And let me grab my stuff here. Of course, now I can't find my magnet. Of course I can't find my magnet because I'm filming. Alright, I'm just dumping out some of the hot water in my pan here. I'm keeping my lids warm. And I'm going to grab some bands. Get this done. So, now I have some vinegar. Wipe this down really well. And I'll also be wiping the outside of the jar. But for now, my biggest concern is getting this as clean as possible. And there's a wild husband sighting. You can just kind of see a little bit of his head in the background there. The wild husband sighting. Alright, so I think that one's about clean enough. Woo! It's a little spicy. A little spicy sticking your finger in hot water. And these jars are quite warm. That's okay. We want that heat. The goal of this is to keep out as much air as possible because air equals spoilage. These will go downstairs to the basement on my food storage shelves, and they will stay nice and cool. And I'll be able to go down and get them whenever I need. Now, as far as officially canning these, like in a canner, I'm sure it can probably be done. My guess is it's probably a Rebel thing. I may do it sometime. Again, tonight, I'm not particularly concerned about that. I just want to get lids on them and get them in their position of upside down to help them seal. Interestingly enough, canning jam and stuff, if you were to look at old recipes, flipping them upside down after you fill the jars is not uncommon at all. It was a method that was used for a long time. In fact, it still is. My friend Heidi does that with some of her jams, and they turn out just fine. They hold for years. It's all what you're comfortable with. All what you're comfortable with. You know, we all take our chances in life, and we have to decide benefits versus risks, and we have to look at the science of things. Oh, I guess I shouldn't say that because science is never settled. But anyway, it can be very controversial, so you got to do what you feel best with. I am perfectly comfortable with having this lard just go upside down and seal that way. When it comes to jams, jellies, anything canned, I will definitely put them in a canner. I'm not saying people who don't are wrong. That's just my personal preference. That's the beautiful thing about living in this country we live in, is we have something called free choice. So you got to do you, boo. You got to do what you can live with and what you're comfortable with and what you research. And I'm not here to defend one position or another. I'm just here to share with you what I'm doing on my journey. And we're all doing the best that we can with our resources on hand. So there we have it. Apologize. Christopher's being very loud in the background. He doesn't have too much of a filter sometimes. Alrighty, so there you have it. 3 beautiful jars of lard. I will flip these over. Oof, hot. I'll flip these over later. We're going for a night walk. Those are the best walks around here. And when I get back, I'll probably flip these over. We'll see. Anyway, there you have it. Isn't that beautiful? I love it. That gorgeous, gorgeous look. Today is super simple. I was very excited to find some wild plums. I didn't think we were going to get any this year, and I wanted to get them in the freezer, so that's what we did. Can't wait to make jam. I actually forgot to film this, but this was my Thursday project. We went out and foraged elderberries, and I have just had them in the freezer. And here pretty soon I'm going to be knocking them off. I actually have another good size package of them. They're not actually white, they just have frost on them. They're actually beautiful purple. And they'll come right off. So we'll be able to make elderberry jelly, elderberry syrup, all the good things. So again, this was my Thursday project. Beautiful frozen elderberries to go into syrup and jelly and probably some gummies too. I have harvested a lot of cabbage out of the garden. I'm super happy. And oh, tragedy of tragedies, we ran out of sauerkraut. So right now we are just trying out that new blender that Jackie gave us. I did a video on, and getting all this cabbage cut up. And I do half this way, and then I did half by hand because it chopped up the cabbage so small that I did not want it to ferment too fast and maybe have more of a wine-ish kind of flavor than the normal sauerkraut flavor that I would want. Can't talk today. And we just cut up, I think we ended up cutting up 3 heads of cabbage for a half-gallon jar of sauerkraut. So I'm just picking out the pieces. Some of them were kind of big coming out of the blender, and I did not want to let it go so far that we had cabbage soup. We want sauerkraut, not cabbage soup. So we're just chopping away, and gosh, do I wish it were this fast in real life. Wouldn't that be great? I'm just getting the cores out of there, and my little helper Christopher's at it again. He's just helping Mama, and he really wants to make some snow cones with this thing. So one of these days I actually have to humor him and do that. We're just chopping. Sauerkraut is just so incredibly good for you. We just love it in this house. That's one of the kids' first foods when they're babies. It's so good for your gut. You know, I'm always talking about good for you gut foods, and yeah, sauerkraut is easy to eat with every meal. It's wonderful. We just really like it around here, and I was so thrilled to have a nice healthy cabbage harvest. It was not without challenges. A bunch of my seedlings died off because honestly I didn't manage them well. Michael was in the hospital again, and I lost a ton to just weather and poor management, but amazingly some still did survive. And then we had to get through cabbage moth season. Okay, so what I'm doing here is pouring the last of my sauerkraut juice from the Curtido, and I'm putting in some salt. And now we're just kneading in all that salt, rubbing it in. If you were to leave it to set for about 10 minutes, a lot of the juices would come out on their own, but I decided to do it this way. You know, I had to taste a little bit, make sure it was okay, you know. And I like to use my little sauerkraut pounder and just start to get those juices out. And you can actually watch the volume shrink in the bowl. It's kind of cool how that works. And I'll squeeze it once in a while to see if I have any juices running out just yet. This is kind of a messy job, but there's something really satisfying about packing all that sauerkraut into jars and knowing that maybe a week you're going to have some really delicious cabbage goodness to help your tummy feel better and just taste really good too. So just pound. It's a great way if you're having a stressful day to get out some stress, some irritation, frustration. Just get in there and smush up that cabbage. It's definitely not frowned upon to smush up cabbage for sauerkraut. And it's looking like it's just about done. You can see the fluid running out of it there. So I'm about to pack that into my jars. And boy, oh boy, it's so delicious and so good for you. My kids just absolutely love sauerkraut. It is the best. And then I'm just going to put it in my jars here. This is a half-gallon jar, and when you're doing sauerkraut, you really want to pack it down pretty firmly, and you want to make sure that those juices do come out, and you want them to cover your sauerkraut. That's super important because you're trying to keep all of that cabbage submerged to help keep the mold out. If you have any little floaties, you want to try and get those under the fluid, and liquid fluid, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean. I like to put a piece of cabbage leaf on there to help, and then I'll put my glass weight on top of that, and that just makes sure that everything stays under that brine. And you can see I'm just pushing down really hard to make sure that I have it all underneath there, and I don't have any floaties. I put my little burp lid on, and there you go. Delicious sauerkraut. Here I am cleaning up these gorgeous crab apples that we foraged from town. The gentleman gave me permission to take all I wanted. They were just falling off this humongous tree. They're delicious and beautiful, and I am so very grateful for such a treat. I simmered these crab apples, cut up 8 cups. I simmered them in enough water to start to cover them, but not make them float, is what the recipe I used said to do. I got just a tad shy of 4 cups. Smells so good. And then I just added a tiny bit of water to bring it up to 4 cups of juice. So now what I'm going to do is bring it up to a simmer for 10 minutes and skim off any foam as per the directions. Welcome back. Look at this. The magic has happened. I don't know if you can hear the bubbling, but this is rocking and rolling. We're at 220 degrees. So that, ooh, sorry about that. This thing is broken. The recipe says between 220 and 222. So I'm gonna get my thermometer out, and I gotta take this off the stand because, like, look at this. Look at this beautiful ruby color. Now there's a couple other ways you can tell if your jelly is done. You can do something called looking for sheeting. You see how it's kind of like doing a slow drip? See how like the drips are separating? That's one way. And another is put onto a plate that was in your freezer. Give it a second. La 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 la. A second to cool. Put your finger through it. Oh, that's still very hot. Wowzers. To see how it doesn't fill in. See how it's not really going anywhere? This is done. And look at that. Ah, delicious. Wow, that's good. I added 1 cinnamon stick. It was optional. Sorry, camera work here. Anyway, I'm going to put this beautiful ruby goodness into jars and process it in a boiling water bath for 10 minutes. See, look at that. See how on the sides it's already jelly? I added no pectin. So crab apples are naturally high in pectin. You don't need it. It just turned out beautiful. Now it's time to jar up this goodness. I was kind of discombobulated. I didn't have everything in order, but we got that taken care of pretty quick. I keep my canning things that I need immediately in my hutch over there, and my spices too. And I'm just gonna go ahead and put them in. I would love to go get some more crab apples. We still have plenty. This only made 3 jars, so I'll definitely be doing more. If I can convince Benjamin to come with me and crawl up on top of the van to get to the high branches, I might do that again. I don't know. He may or may not go for that. This tree has to be like, I don't even know, 30 feet tall. It's enormous. It's just gorgeous. So my lid fell off my water filter. So I hot glued this little hen on here. That's my new handle. I just thought it was kind of cute. I know. So my water filter is chicken chic. Anyway, I'm gonna get busy on this and I'll see you later. Sorry about the crazy hair. It's just me. I don't know. And here we have 3 beautiful jars of crab apple jelly. I will be making a lot more of this. This is absolutely delicious and the color is amazing. I don't even know if you can see here. Look at that. And look at this. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I'm so pleased with that. And I have a whole lot left. So there you go. That wraps it up. Happy Sunday. Thanks for watching. See you next time.